I'm here today with Erin Friday. And Erin, you are my hero right now. You are organizing what is going to be, I believe, one of the most powerful events fighting against the trans ideology thus far. And if you want to just tell us about what you're doing and give people some information about it.
Sure. Thanks, Erin, for having me. I love your name, by the way.
That's a great name. I didn't like it when I was a kid, but now that I'm a grown up, all these other cool Erins are around, and I'm like,
Yeah, keep it.
hey.
Don't go changing your name. Um, so the AAP is since 2018 has been supporting the affirmative care model,
And for those
which
who don't know what the AAP is.
oh, sorry, American Academy of Pediatrics. Whose calling is to take care of children and to do what is in the best interest of children, first do no harm, and really their focus should be child centric. In 2018, without much fanfare or input from their membership, and their membership is 67,000 pediatricians. It's a very large membership, as one would expect. They decided to follow what is commonly referred to as affirmative care model. And it has a nice name, but what it actually means is that when a child is presented to the medical community as being gender confused, that the medical community, including pediatricians, will merely affirm the child's gender identity. So if the young girl says she's a boy, the doctor will agree. And with really no questions asked, and can move towards the medicalization of the child. Those of us with kids who were gender confused or are gender confused, when we take our child to the pediatrician, this is typically how it goes. You take your child, the doctor, the pediatrician will change your child's name on the chart, regardless of whether you tell them not to do it or not. And then they will recommend that your child go to a gender clinic. And of course, the gender clinic is a fast track to puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and surgery. So, so the AAP has been pushing this model since 2018, and there were some very bold pediatricians, I think 5, that this year, again, like last year, because this happened twice now, where they asked that the AAP reconsider its position on this fast track medicalization model. The AAP on a technical basis, which I think is bogus, said no, they're not going to revisit it. They're not going to do what they did in the UK, which is a systematic review of the scientific evidence.
Or lack thereof.
Lack thereof, right, exactly. I mean, why a medical community would not want to have the best science is really interesting. I mean, obviously they're a political arm and not a medical arm. And anything that they say otherwise is, again, just BS. So we decided that it was time for us to have a unity rally at the AAP and their annual convention in Anaheim, California on October 8th, and let them know that we parents and others want them to revisit their position. And we call this a unity rally because there's twofold. There's two purposes for this. The first is, of course, to educate the 10,000 medical providers that will be at this convention. It's designed to be very peaceful. This is not an in your face, we're angry with you. We want to maybe educate some of those AAP members that don't know that by sending a child to the gender clinic that you are, putting them on a pathway that they can't get off. And then the unity aspect of it is, it's really time for all of the groups that have been fighting this fight separately to join together. And I know it can be a tall order for different groups to kind of maybe hold their nose a little bit, um, or hold hands with somebody that they normally wouldn't do do that with, but it's time. So we have um, we have gay groups coming. We have lesbian groups coming. We have radical feminist groups coming. We have conservative religious groups coming. We have parents groups. Um, it's an all person rational group of people. If you are against medicalization of children, you should come to this rally. And we may disagree on 99% of the other things, and that's a-okay.
Mhm.
That's
In
a-okay.
fact, I think that's really powerful when you can get people who have otherwise have very different views on something, all agreeing that this is wrong. When you have uh, conservative Christians, when you have radical feminists, lesbians, gays, you have people who are moderates, you have parents who have never been involved in political action before, all coming together and saying, enough is enough. This has to stop. And holding accountable what's happening with the AAP, because one of the things that I've witnessed is that their stance on this has enabled gender clinics and really emboldened gender clinics to continue to push this, and more children are being pulled into this ideology because nobody is willing to look at the evidence, nobody's willing to look at the science, nobody's willing to say, hey, maybe this isn't the right approach, maybe we shouldn't be encouraging children to medicalize for life. And so one of the ways that we can hold them accountable is by having all different kinds of people come together and saying, see, it's not just the radical feminists. It's not just the Christian conservatives. It's not just the lesbians. It's all of us. We all think this is wrong.
Yeah, that's really important. I mean, I joke that I've been, misgendered. I'm a Democrat of 30 years. I don't think I've ever voted Republican in my life, except in 2022, thanks to the gender ideology.
Yeah.
But yeah, right. I mean, I have also been in protests where I'm standing next to an obviously butch lesbian, and we've been called right-wing evangelical Christians, which is always interesting. So it's just name calling, but the Democratic Party just wants to recast us as Republicans and conservatives and hate groups. We're parents, mainly who are going to this. We are parents who love our children unconditionally. And I don't care if you're a libertarian, a Republican, a Indian chief. I mean, I don't care if you think it's wrong to cut off the healthy breasts of a little girl, then you are my friend.
Mhm. Yeah, that's how one of the things that I've tried really hard is to um, I've interviewed lots of people from lots of different perspectives, and occasionally I get pushback. Occasionally I get someone who says, "I can't believe that you platformed that person. I disagree with that person. That person is, anathema." And I say, you know what? If they're against this, if they're doing efforts to stop this, then I'm going to platform them because we need all different kinds of voices. We need people from all different walks of life who can speak out against this. And we need numbers. We need to show these doctors that it's not just one or two people, that there's a lot of us who are willing to travel to Anaheim to try and speak some sense into them.
Exactly. And what's really amazing, and I think this will be the first of many, honestly, we have people coming from North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Texas, um,
Utah.
Illinois, Utah, Washington State. They're coming. People are caravanning from Arizona, and people are for every person that's going to be standing there. I hope that people will realize that there's probably 200 behind that each person, because not every parent has the ability to stand up right now and be the face.
Right.
I understand that. I was anonymous for a year and a half while I was trying to get my daughter out of this. And that's about all you can spend your energy on is taking care of your own child. So and that's what I think too gets lost on a lot of these politicians. They see 10 of us. Well, 10 of us means that there's 1,000 of us
Mhm. Yeah, I
because
think
we
people
have
don't realize how dangerous it is to be public about this. I mean, I tell people that I'm talking to that I've gotten death threats, and they're like, they look at me and they're like, what do you do? What? Um,
yeah, but
and
I don't know, Aaron. I've gotten threats too, and I just kind of blow them off and think of
yeah,
them as
I blow them
I
off too. I think that their bark is bigger than their bite, but at the same time, not all of us can stand up and speak out
right,
because we risk losing our jobs. We risk, our children, if our children are still deeply into this, we risk further alienation. Some people can't speak out because, of various situations that they're in. And so each person who can be there represents so many others that I don't want to discourage anybody from being there unless their plan is to be disruptive.
right, right, and it's going to play poorly. I think it's going to play really, really poorly if there is disruption, and we expect that there will be. But you're going to beat up on parents
Yeah.
who are safeguarding their children. I mean, can even a trans radical activist say that it's a good idea to castrate a 17-year-old boy?
And if
That's
they
a
do, then that's an indication that we shouldn't be listening to them.
right, right, exactly,
So how do
exactly.
you respond to people who say, "Oh my gosh, well, I can stand behind you for this person and this person, but I can't believe you're going to platform this person." How do you respond to that?
Well, I tell them to go read our pledge, which talks about unity.
Okay, will you tell us a little bit about the pledge?
Yeah, so the pledge is that if you are coming and you are going to wear one of our event shirts, that you understand that this is not a an event to talk about Jesus and God. And I think that's great if you have religion, but this is not that place. That is going to ostracize mainstream media, unfortunately. It is not, if you are coming, we're not going to be talking about the patriarchy or, that this is an issue that was placed, because of men. We need men in this fight. We can't really be ostracizing anyone. This is not a Democrat or Republican event. We have asked that people not, wear MAGA outfits if they're politically inclined to do something like that, and vice versa. This is our message is focused, and it is really simple, and every American should be behind this. Is safeguarding children's bodily integrity
Mhm.
and letting them grow up with natural puberty. We humans have been going through puberty for 200, was it 200 million years, something ridiculous like that. This is
It's an
not,
incredibly important part of human
yeah,
development. I mean, it's one of the most important parts of our developmental processes. For people to subvert that or to say, "Oh, we can just put it on hold," or we can push you into the direction of the opposite sex puberty, to me is just astonishing.
and they don't even know what the results are. I mean, the endocrine aspect of our bodies is one of the least known, you know, the functions of our body, what hormones do. I mean, women, we know what hormones can do. I mean, you add a little bit of an extra bit of estrogen and we might go nutty, or we might just start sweating, or uh, our
Might not be
muscles
able to sleep
our
or
muscles get gooey. I
yeah.
mean, the power of hormones is just intense, and we are not one thing. We are a system of things. So when you put puberty on hold, you are disrupting the whole body development. It's not a, I heard a child who was promoting uh, promoting transgenderism to adults say it's like a pause button on your TV.
Oh,
Nothing like a pause button,
nothing.
nothing like a pause button on your TV.
It's like pouring water into the TV. I mean, it's into the electrical
Exactly.
system. That's what it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's not a pause. It's a complete disruption of the important processes of puberty. And and we don't know, like you said, this is experimental. So can you talk a little bit about, for those who are interested in coming, how do they get more information? What is the day going to look like? What can they expect when they get there?
Well, I'm not going to go down the whole entire schedule because that's a little bit top secret. But we are public on this. We are public on this, which is sorry, is another new aspect of any type of protest that has gone before us. Is we've always played it really close to the vest, and everyone needs to know everyone, and it's time for us to get loud.
Yeah.
It is time to rush the stage. Those people, I know you talked about, fearful of people losing their jobs and whatnot. I think we're not there anymore. I think it's time. There's too many of us fighting this. They cannot cancel us all.
Mhm.
There's too many of us. And so it is, if you have the ability to stand up now. Um, so the way it's going to work is that if you go to ourduty.group, if you go to that website, there is a great link to our event, and it will tell you how to purchase a t-shirt, who to email. You need to sign the pledge. We have a limited variety of posters and banners that are acceptable. Again, I know it's First Amendment rights, but we're asking that people stay laser focused on kids because that is our mission.
Mhm.
Our mission is children. We'll deal with the other issues later. We'll get there. Um, so that is, that website is just chock full of information, and it's going to be on Saturday, October 8th. And the actual event is a silent event. We are going to let our signs be our messages. We're not going to be banging pots. We're not going to be screaming in megaphones. And we are going to be distributing information to the doctors as they pass by and hopefully having one-on-one conversations.
Mhm. I believe that most doctors do not understand what's happening. I really believe that the vast majority of pediatricians sort of have gotten a little bit of information about this and are just going to, turn it over to the endocrinologists or the gender clinics thinking that they're the specialists. And I really believe once they truly understand what's happening, that they will not support it. And one of the things most people don't understand about how these big organizations work, like the AAP, is that they have small committees that actually make the decisions. So the number of pediatricians that voted to endorse so-called affirmative care is very small. And once the pediatricians understand that if you put any girl on testosterone, she's initially going to feel like $1 million. That's not the solution. And the long-term repercussions of stopping a child's puberty are untenable, that we cannot be allowing children to have body parts chopped off. I really think that most pediatricians, once they really understand it and don't once they understand the enormity of it and how many children this is happening to, I really believe that they're not going to support it. So this is an opportunity to do that outreach and education.
Yeah, absolutely. And we also need to show the doctors that we have their backs
Mhm.
and vice versa. So the trick in all of this is somehow we have been, um, you know, we have been told that great harm will come to us if we start talking about this. And so we need to let them know that parents are talking about this. They can talk about it too,
Yeah.
because silence is not going to get us anywhere. And so we need the doctors on our side. And you're right. I don't think a lot of pediatricians actually know. I think some of them do, but they're terrified to say anything. We need to give them the muscles to start talking.
And the language and the information, because we can give them the studies. We can point them to what's happened in the UK and in Finland and in Sweden and let them
Right.
know that, there's documentation of the harms. There's stuff to back them up. So what time is the rally going to start?
So it officially starts at 9:45 on Saturday.
At
We're
the convention center in Anaheim, is that correct?
That's correct. That's correct. And it will go until 2 o'clock. Thereafter, for those people who are able to stay around, we'll still be walking around distributing information and having one-on-one conversations, because I think that's a really important aspect of educating people, is to also make us look like we're not monsters. We're just parents and educators. I look at myself now as an educator. So it's not confrontational. It's not angry.
Mhm.
It's, hey, do you know? Do you know what you're doing?
And you have information to hand out. People don't need to worry about bringing information with them. You'll have flyers, books. Um,
Yep. We
okay.
have, and thank you, because you, yeah, Advocates Protecting Children donated a lot of material. So we have a lot of your books. We have a lot of your material. We have material from um, United Lesbians, or Lesbians United. Sorry,
Jen
we have
Specht, I think.
Jen Spec. Yes. So, and then we have made some of our own material just to talk about exactly what you said. Oop, what's happening in Europe. And then we also created a document that we're really hoping that the pediatricians will pass out to the parents of their gender questioning patients.
Oh, good idea.
Yeah, so it will give them another place for parents to go other than the gender clinic, because I would have killed for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Most parents, if even just knowing there are other parents who are saying, I'm not sure I want to go down this path. We hear parents every day who say, I am so thankful to find out that I'm not the only one who's questioning this. And we say, you're not crazy. And they say, thank you so much, because the message they're getting is either that they're hateful or they're crazy for not supporting these, you know, so-called affirmative care. And I hate that it's affirmative care, because to me, it's anything but affirmative. Telling a child to basically kill who they are and become somebody else is in no way affirmative. But that's one of the ways that this ideology has been so effective, is by taking a word and turning it on its head, and really bastardizing the meaning, and making love hate and hate love and affirmation damaging, and yeah, it's just it's crazy making. And parents need to know that there are alternatives, and they do not have to go down this pathway with their child.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be seen as conversion therapy. It's So I'm hoping that the doctors will take a look at this and then use it to give to their patients.
Yeah, that's
It
brilliant. I'm so
makes it
glad to
easy
know
for them.
that. Yeah,
Mhm.
excellent. Is there anything else that people need to know before, they still have about a month to get this on their calendar, a little less than a month. Um,
Yeah,
so I just want to encourage, please come, even if you're just going to stand there, even if you're, shy and you're not wanting to go talk to doctors, just please come, because we need to know you're out there. Everybody's going to be wearing, in theory, the same shirt. So there'll be sort of a presence, even if you don't talk to a single doctor, even if you don't talk to a single person, just, come and be part of this.
yeah. There's a spot for everyone. There's definitely there's going to be parents there that are going to be in disguise,
Mhm.
and that's a-okay. And they won't be talking to anybody, and that's fine. Not everyone has that job. Everyone's going to have a specific job. You're just going to stand there and hold a sign. That's it.
Mhm.
It's a pretty easy job, but it's powerful.
Mhm.
And hopefully, if we do this right, the mainstream media will finally cover us. Maybe they'll cover us. Maybe they'll cover us and see that we have a sign that says Democrats against puberty blockers.
Or
Uh,
stop transing gay kids.
exactly. Or, gays against groomers with their signs, and moms for liberty. So, you
And
know,
how powerful to me to see, maybe gays against groomers and moms for liberty standing right next to each other, saying, "Stop damaging our children. Stop telling our children these lies. Stop with this ideology." To me, that's incredibly powerful.
yeah, it's amazing. I think that's the silver lining out of all of this, is maybe these groups who wouldn't have come together and would have, never been in the same room together, might learn from each other.
Yeah.
Like I said,
And
I'm
that's one
I'm
of the things that I've definitely learned being in this. I had such strong feelings about groups like Eagle Forum and some of these other groups, and now I go and do presentations for them because, first of all, I've learned that we're more alike than different, and that they're very human, and that they love people even though we have different ideas about things. I think it's incredibly powerful to reach out, and one of the ways this ideology has become so entrenched is because we are so divided. And I feel like anything we can do to recognize each other as human will be helpful.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, it's been a great learning experience for me. Sitting next to somebody who's a total Trumper and being like, "Hey, you're against gender ideology, so am I. Let's have some coffee."
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the way it should be. And all of us should be protecting children, whether you have children,
Mhm.
want to have children. They are the innocents, and they are our future. And I haven't spoken with anyone ever who says it's a good idea to remove body parts of children, even people who are, believe in the transgenderism.
Mhm.
Um,
And I think there's a bigger question here, that if we allow doctors to base their treatment on ideology rather than science, that opens up a huge can of worms. And it means that basically it undermines our confidence in our healthcare providers. And so that's another issue.
yeah.
It's a whole nother can of worms, but it's something that we need to let doctors know that we're watching and that we want evidence-based treatments.
Well, Aaron, you just opened up the can, and so I have to just dive in. Sorry.
Okay.
Let me be honest. We here in California, we don't bring our kids to pediatricians anymore. We go to minute clinics, we go to a CVS or a Walgreens, because we don't trust the medical community.
Yeah.
And that makes me teary. I have doctors in my family, um, but I don't trust them anymore. And I did implicitly. And that is and I don't know how we're going to recover from that. But it's very clear that the AAP's position is political. They wouldn't let SEGM come to their annual convention last year
And for
because
those who don't know who SEGM is, it's a primarily, I would say, left-leaning group of doctors, maybe a
middle
very mixed group of doctors.
mixed. I mean,
Yeah.
there's 100 doctors in there, and they wanted to just present. They wanted to have a booth. I mean, they
Mhm.
were
So
paying to
that's,
come.
SEGM stands for,
Uh,
Society for Evidence-Based Medicine, is that correct,
Gender
Jen?
medicine.
Gender, okay.
Yeah. So it's segm.org, and that is just chock full of
Yeah, it's a great
medical
site.
information. Great stuff. But they were not permitted to go to last year's annual convention. I mean, it didn't happen because of COVID, but they were given a booth and then it was taken away.
Wow.
So it's see no evil, speak no evil, hear no evil. If the AAP has children's best interest at heart, why wouldn't you let the dialogue occur and let the physicians decide who is right and who is wrong? But instead, the AAP is just silencing people. And that's just wrong. And it's a frightening aspect when medicine is decided by an ideology.
Yeah,
because then
it's
it has no
terrifying. It's terrifying.
it
Um,
is, and I don't know how the medical community recovers from this because I advise all the parents in my parent group, do not take your child to a pediatrician.
and I advise people not to take their children to therapists. What a shame. I benefited so much from therapists.
Yep.
Therapists helped me to resolve my gender identity issues. What a shame now that they're no longer trustworthy, that they have sold their souls to this ideology.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, I don't know how they have a chance right now. And this is what the AAP, I hope you're listening, because you have a chance to reverse course given the fact that the Tavistock is shutting down. And so you can hook your mistake on that. But as an attorney, I'll tell you, you go much longer, you're going to see yourself in lawsuits
Yeah.
because you know.
And I'm going to advocate for the harshest possible outcomes of lawsuits because one of the things that I saw during the opioid crisis is doctors saying, well, we didn't know, we were just going by standards of care. Well, we're there to make sure these doctors do know, so that they cannot use that excuse in 5 years when suddenly the tables turn and people realize that they have been perpetuating basically medicalized child abuse.
And I've said this before, parents, we don't forgive
Mhm.
harms
No.
perpetrated on our children. So if you're just shrugging your shoulders and saying, well, my hospital made me do this or my practice made me do this, that's not a good defense. That's not going to work well in a courtroom. So the AAP has a very, very short timeline right now where they can avoid really the liability that's going to come down, and it's going to come down hard on them because they're pushing this. So the doctors are going to say, well, my professional group told me to do this. They're all going to go like this, and we don't care. We're going to go like this. So, this is just, maybe I sound threatening, but it's a warning.
Mhm.
It's a warning. They can fix this right now based on what's happening in the UK without too much fallout. But doubling down and tripling down, which is what they're doing, is going to really blow the AAP apart. And the doctors who know,
Yeah.
because we parents, we take really good notes.
Yeah.
We keep really good documents. We know which doctors we educated and
Yeah.
who are still doing it.
And we know which doctors are actively recruiting children.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Erin, is there anything else that you want to tell people about this event that I think is going to have a huge impact? And I'm incredibly grateful for all the hard work you're doing. This is just a monumental task, and you've done a phenomenal job. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that coincidentally, or I think it was actually scheduled because of our event, is that there's a premiere of a movie, which I think you're in, Aaron,
Yeah.
right? You're the star.
No, no,
No,
not at
I think
all. No, I think Daisy is really the star, who's a detransitioner, who's in it, whose story is really powerful.
okay. I haven't gotten to see it yet, so I just saw the names of the people I know, but it's called Disconnected, and that is also happening in Anaheim on October 8th. So if you come for the rally, then you can also go to the premiere of Disconnected, which is one of, I believe, 4 or 5 documentaries that are coming out or have come out in the last month or two on detransitioners. So we're at the peaking point. Let's get to the tip of the mountain
Yeah.
and and knock this thing out. We're there. We're
Yeah.
there.
And we've got the documentation. So I will put information, both the link to Our Duty as well as to that movie, so people can get more information. And really, I just encourage you. I hear people all the time say, I want to do something. I'm just not sure what. This is the what. Show up in Anaheim. We need you there. This is for our children. Um, yeah, it might be inconvenient. Yeah, it might be a little expensive, but I mean, what is the worth of saving a child from this ideology? Is it worth it to you? It should be. And we need you there.
Exactly. Well put. Well put. Thanks.
Thanks, Erin.
Well, I'll see you on the 8th.
All right.
All right. Thank you.